Hello, hello. Welcome to this week's journal entry. I am in a season of intentionality. And what I mean by that is I just feel like I am very aware of my actions and how they play out and how they might be received and how I will feel if I do them or I don't do them. And so I feel like being on autopilot, this coasting feeling is unrewarding and it's unfulfilling. And I feel like when I'm in that autopilot, headspace, I'm always kicking myself, just thinking like, why can't I be more inspired? Or why do I just feel so stuck and I'm not getting to that next level that I want to be at, even though I really, really want to be there. But at the same time, I feel like being on autopilot is intentional. We are either intentionally coasting or intentionally living. I was at a conference where Brendon Burchard said that he went through a depressive bout in his life with suicidal thoughts. And he came to this realization that I didn't want to die. I just didn't know how to live. That's what he wrote in one of his journal entries. And as soon as I heard that, I got full body chills and I was like, whoa, I've never had suicidal thoughts. However, I have definitely felt like I wasn't living in so many different areas of my life. And so today I'm going to be giving you 6 tips on how to get off of autopilot so that you can feel alive again. That is my intention for you. Going into tip number 1, what does autopilot mean to you? And this is your first journal prompt as well. All of the prompts will be in the show notes so you can circle back. So, what does autopilot mean to you? I Googled it, and Google says that autopilot is a societal standard that can cause people to become mindlessly focused on things like their phone, email, and weather. That kind of blew my mind when I saw that. A societal standard, a standard that people get to, I guess. Do you achieve it? I don't know. But when I saw that, it made me realize how widespread of an issue this is. Like, how many people are on autopilot, not living to their full potential or just not living an inspired life? But what does autopilot mean to you? When I think about the times when I was feeling like just coasting in this like mundane everything, it would look like this. I would wake up and I would do my morning routine because it's quote unquote what I do. I didn't feel inspired doing it. It was just, I told myself that these are the steps that I would do in the morning. And then I would log into work and just kind of feel like I was quote unquote going through the motions of my daily tasks. I would end work feeling like I coasted. I would then step into my mom mode with my son and just try and make it to bedtime. And then I would finally make it to my bed and scroll my phone or watch reality TV until I decided to turn the lights off. And ultimately, feel guilty for doing all those things when I know that they're not what I want to be doing, that they're not in line with who I want to be. But you might not be at that self-awareness level. So doing this activity will help you just become aware on what your life is like and how you're feeling throughout it. Step 2 is then to audit your life. What is and isn't working with your routines, if you have any, relationships, health, and environment? Of each of those things, what is working, meaning it makes you feel good, it makes you feel fulfilled, you feel like it is something that you do that is on the path to success, to where you want to be. And then what isn't working? What isn't working is anything that makes you feel not great. Like, you know that you should be, you feel like you should, quote unquote, should be doing something else, or it's just not time well spent, or it's a person that is not uplifting you, or an environment that you're in that you might have the ability to change, but you are just there because you've always been there, or you think that you should be there. So doing that audit and then thinking, what would your ultimate life look like? Like, if you could have any sort of lifestyle, what would it be? Would you wake up early and would you have an inspired morning routine and you go to the office feeling happy and then you're surrounded by incredible coworkers and you end the day feeling like you crushed that day, and then you go into mom mode if you're a mom, or you just come home to your partner or your cats and you just feel so good and you cook like a really healthy dinner that is energizing to you and you go to bed reading. That's something that I always want to do, is just read. And then you do it all over again, but from a place of inspiration, right? So what does that look like for you? Moving into step 3, for the things that are not working for you, stop doing them or rethink them. How can you switch it? Like if you have to be in an environment that isn't working for you, how can you tweak it so that it feels a little bit better? You might not be able to quit your job, but is there something? Can you ask for a desk with a view, right? Because that would inspire you more throughout the day. Or can you start playing music while you are working, music that would inspire you? Or just stop doing them. If you know you're doing a certain thing that you can actually stop, just stop. Now, I am fully aware that just stopping is very hard to do, especially if you've never thought through, like, why am I doing that? So I'm not going to get into that here because I just did a podcast episode called How to Be Happy. It's only like 14 minutes, so it's a super quick one. I'm going to link that in the show notes. If you feel like you actively are doing something that you don't want to be doing, go listen to that episode. Now, for the things that are working for you, bring meaning to those areas that matter. So connect those habits or routines or relationships to something that you value or to your goals. For example, and I'm going to use some consistent examples throughout the rest of this episode so that you can kind of see how it all connects. So one example, waking up early and exercising, having that routine will give me energy that I need to be a calm and patient mom when my kid gets up. I know this as a fact because when I don't do it, I am not a calm and patient mom when Griffin wakes up. So that is something that I have connected as a value, and I know that helps me reach my goals because I just feel better throughout the day when I do those things. Another example, prioritizing happy hour with friends makes me feel more alive and is a nice break once a week. I don't do this. If there are any women out there that want to do this with me, shoot me a message. But just as an example, I feel like that would be something that is a break. It gets you off of autopilot, right? It's something new and fresh that you get to do every week or every month, whatever it is for you. And it is attached to one of your values. My last example is participating in a community or a course that is aligned with how I want to feel and who I want to be will be a daily reminder that I can and will get there. Right? So just participating in something. I can't tell you how many things I've signed up for and then I don't ever log in or I don't ever participate, especially free things. I sign up for free things like every single day. But I never link that to like, okay, if I do this, then I will progress in my career or relationships or anything like that. So connecting something that you want to do with your goals and values. Number 4, this might be my favorite. Know how you're motivated. I read a book once and it provided 4 questions to get you motivated to reach your goals. And the first 2 was kind of about your vision. It was like, where do you want to be in 1 year? Like, where do you see yourself in 1 year? What would inspire you? And if you stayed consistent with that, where would you be or what would your life look like in 5 years? So just kind of painting the picture, inspiration, visualization, all of that. But then the last 2 questions were the complete opposite. It said, if you did nothing different starting today, where would you be in 1 year? And then where would you be or what would your life look like in 5 years? And to my shock, that motivated me more than the first 2 questions. I grew up and started my, corporate career and then my entrepreneurial career really only focusing on the first 2 questions. But when I heard those second 2, I was like, whoa, knowing that I might not make it to that goal And just kind of feeling that and visualizing it made me way more motivated than the visualization of reaching the goal. So it was then that I realized that you can be motivated by either starting to make a change or by not making any changes and knowing where that will get you, right? So we're coming back to the intentionality and awareness of our actions and behaviors. So which one are you? Are you motivated by not making a change? This leads to kind of like the fear of missing out, FOMO, knowing that if you don't do something, you'll stay the same. Or are you motivated by making the change? And that leads again to visualization and inspiration and knowing that if you do make a change, you'll start to feel and become the next level, the next version of yourself. And then practice mindfulness. Take a moment to think about your actions and how they will affect you related to your motivation. So we're going to do a couple examples with if you're motivated by not making the change. So being mindful and just intentionally thinking about actions that I do throughout the day or that you might do throughout the day. Here's one. If I keep drinking coffee in the mornings, I'll continue to feel anxious throughout the day. If I don't sign up for that thing that's been on my mind, I'll go through the motions during the workday and after work, just as is. There will be nothing fresh or exciting in my life. If I stay up late scrolling my phone, I'll continue to feel guilty because I know that I shouldn't be doing that and I'll feel like I'm procrastinating. But I'll also wake up groggy and feel frustrated when my kids get up because I don't have enough time for myself. Those are all actions that I have done and that you might be doing where we intentionally are doing that thing. We're not making the change. And so that is the result. Now, if we were motivated by making a change, it might look like this. If I start swapping my morning cup of coffee with hot lemon water, it might yield less anxiety the rest of the day, right? So by making the change, we're feeling more inspired. If I sign up for the new membership or that thing that's been on your mind, it'll force me to check into a positive space daily or weekly or monthly or whatever it is that you're thinking of. If I start going to bed earlier, I will feel more rested in the morning and be more patient in the mornings. Shout out to another episode that I did called How to Wake Up Happy. Go listen to that one if waking up in the mornings is a thing for you. Like you're always feeling groggy or uninspired or just like wishing you could get 5 more hours of sleep. So go check that one out. But the difference to those two examples, one is that you're inspired in both, right? You're inspired if you don't make the change because you don't want to continue to feel anxious. You don't want to continue to coast throughout the day and just feel uninspired. And you don't want to feel impatient in the mornings. Whereas you're still inspired in the second one, but you are inspired because you want to feel less anxious. You want to feel like you're part of a positive community and that positive space. And you want to feel like you are more intentional and patient and happy in the mornings. So no, there's not a right answer or a wrong answer. It's just knowing how you're motivated so that you can then tweak how you inspire yourself through mindfulness. The last tip is to surround yourself with people who lift you up and who are where you want to be. I don't know if you've heard this. If you listen to PD books, personal development books, it's like everywhere, where you are the sum or the average of the 5 people that are closest to you. So if you are surrounded by 5 women that are achieving and happy and intentional and succeeding in whatever area you feel like success is, then you naturally will like rise with them. Whereas if the 5 people closest to you are not that, and they aren't focused on change and growth, and they are on autopilot and they're fine with that. Some people are completely fine. I don't think that you're fine with it because you're still listening right now, but other people are. And so just making sure that you are surrounded by people who are living that intentional life that we journaled on earlier, right? One of the first prompts, I think is the second prompt, was what would your life look like? What would your lifestyle look like? Find a way to connect with those women, to find those women if you don't know where they are, and then to connect with them and to make something out of that. Because it's, what is that quote? A rising tide lifts all ships. I think that's what it is. So make sure that you have the ships that are rising and that you're in that water and that you are choosing to surround yourself with those people. All right, so a recap of the journal prompts that will be in the show notes is, what does autopilot mean to you? Audit my routines, relationships, health, and environment with what's working and what isn't. What would my ultimate life feel like? For the things that are working for you, bring meaning to the areas that matter and connecting those with your goals or values. Am I motivated by not making a change or by starting to make the change? Practicing mindfulness around that with your habits and routines. And then to surround yourself with people who lift you up and who are where you want to be. If you loved this episode and you want more journal prompts on how to get unstuck and to get to that next level in your life, and you're not already registered for my free 5-day journaling workshops, it's only happening this week. And day 5 is all about this topic, how to get unstuck, how to get to that next level of yourself. And it's with completely new prompts, nothing that we've talked about today. So you can register for that at the link in my show notes as well. Thank you for tuning in. And here is to an intentional, fulfilling life where you actually feel alive.